Hello and welcome back to another University Deep Dive. We've got a good one today. I think this one's hitting a little close to home for Spencer. So we're excited to be here with student Bernice Yu, and we're going to be talking about the Baker Program, the Master's in Real Estate Baker Program at Cornell. So Spencer, this one is close to home, yeah?
It does, yeah. Thanks, Sam. And Bernice, thanks for joining us. As Sam alluded to, I am a proud alum of the Baker Program in Real Estate, which is Cornell's Master's in Real Estate program. And we did a deep dive, Bernice, several years ago. A few things have changed at the program. And so we thought we'd bring you in to talk through first what it means to study real estate at the graduate level at Cornell, and then some further details about Baker. So thanks for joining us. Let me start with this question, Bernice. What does it mean to study real estate as a master's student at Cornell?
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. I'm really excited to be able to do this with you guys today and to showcase a bit about the Baker program at Cornell, which I think is a really exceptional and unique graduate program in real estate. It is a 2-year program, which really gives you the time to immerse yourself in real estate. And that appeals, I think, to students of a lot of different types of backgrounds, whether you are perhaps pretty far in your career and but a relative newcomer to real estate like myself, or if you have had a few years of real estate experience under your belt already after undergrad, but perhaps now you're ready to take the next step to really advance your studies. I think that it's a really exciting time to be studying real estate at Cornell for a variety of reasons, which we can dig into. But I would say that what it means to me to be in the Baker program is to be able to be a part of a community, a very small, close-knit community of graduate students who are interested in real estate and the built environment, and to be able to do it in a program that is constantly innovating, especially right now. It's a very exciting time.
Yeah. And let's dig into that further. I think the main differentiator between Baker and, say, your traditional master's in real estate program is that 2-year time frame, right? It's more akin to an MBA in real estate. Cornell made the decision to launch a formal 2-year graduate program in real estate rather than going the MBA in real estate route, which many universities have taken. Describe the process to degree completion, Bernice. How many credits, or approximately how many credits, how many semesters, when does one matriculate, when does one graduate, what happens during those 2 years? Just kind of high overview, what does it take to start and finish the Baker program?
Sure thing. As you mentioned, it is a 2-year program. You start in the fall. So you basically have your first year in the program, fall semester and spring semester. During this time, you are really pretty heavily focused on completing the core requirements for Baker. So because it is a longer program, and in part, because it's a longer program and there's a lot to do within real estate. It's a pretty hefty core curriculum requirement, but the core is very comprehensive, and it takes you pretty much during your first 3 semesters. It gives you a really nice comprehensive foundation in finance, in the built environment, in real estate law and land use law requirements, which is very, very, anybody who does real estate will tell you really need to understand that portion of it. And also, even if you're not interested necessarily yourself in a path in development, you do get a core required 2 classes actually right now in development. And I think that's also, is really important, because even if you're on the investment side later on, it's really, really essential to know how real estate is developed. And so the core curriculum, which I believe is about 40 credits, really takes you through a very thoughtful and comprehensive foundation in your necessary real estate foundation. And
so
then
the core is 1, 2, 3 semesters roughly.
Yep.
What's beyond the core in terms of coursework?
So during those 3 semesters, you will be taking a lot of your core classes, but you will still definitely have room for other classes as well. So you can think of the Baker program requirements as spread across about 4 different categories. One is the core classes, which we talked about. Second, every student is required to do a concentration. And there are 5 predefined concentrations, which really cover the gamut from development to investment to consulting and asset management. So those are very well conceived, predefined concentrations already that are designed to be, you could choose from them, and kind of depending on whatever career interest you have, you should be able to make it work with one of the predefined curriculum concentration requirements. But if you find that you you want to do your own, you can also design your own concentration as well. And so that offers a lot of flexibility in terms of how you want to spend the rest of your core credits and your time during the program. And there's also a leadership and management requirement, about 4 course credits. And those are there because, I think the Baker program is really geared towards training leaders. So there's a strong emphasis on making sure that you are getting your required or helpful background in leadership and management. And I think here is where one area where the collaboration and the relationship that the Baker program has within the College of Business at Cornell is really, for me at least, has been really essential, because I've actually taken a lot of classes in the College of Business, and I found them to be immensely helpful, not just for the leadership, fulfilling the leadership and management requirement, but also because this is a business-oriented degree, and it is there to train you in the business of real estate, whatever segment you're interested in. And there's a lot of really helpful crossover courses and other opportunities that you can get through the College of Business. So 3 semesters where you're pretty busy fulfilling your requirements, and then you have free electives as well. And so right now, I'm a second-year student, so this is my last semester, and I find myself, suddenly with a lot of room in my schedule to pick up those last classes that I feel like would really be interesting or enriching for my background and experience.
So the concentration is really interesting. Well, first, the free form electives is fun. Cornell has one of the most diverse set of course offerings of any university in the world. And there's all sorts of interesting and fun things to do. And so I won't get into those, but sailing and horseback riding and wine tasting, all these interesting electives that many of my colleagues took while I was at Cornell. But focusing on the concentration, I think this is important, right? When you spend 2 years exclusively studying real estate, one must specialize. And why must they specialize? Because there's a lot of time. If you spend it all on generalists, like you would get more in a 1 year program, or say in a master's or an MBA in real estate. The concentrations are interesting. My concentration was finance and investments. But what's cool about Cornell, at least when I was there, and I would imagine, Bernice, it's the same, one can develop their own concentration if they so choose. And so one of my classmates back in the day wanted to develop resort hospitality in the Middle East. And so his concentration was resort hospitality, and he crafted a curriculum that was specific to that. What is your concentration?
That is a very interesting question. My concentration is one of the predefined ones. It is the development and sustainability concentration. Although I did last semester think really hard about actually designing my own curriculum. And in fact, I was also interested in hospitality real estate development. And so I thought that would be a really fun way to actually design my own curriculum, my own concentration. As it turns out, things have changed, and I decided that the more broad-based development and sustainability one can really help me cover my bases, because my intended focus is in real estate development.
So let's talk about how the program is administered. So many times masters in real estate programs either live in the architecture school of a college or live in the business school. Generally, they're not a named program in the way that Baker is. And there's this Paul Rubaka thing that's now happening at school. You have the S.C. Johnson College of Business with the Johnson family endowing the College of Business with a large gift, as well as the Rubaka family endowing the program, or at least real estate at Cornell with a gift. And then, of course, Richard Baker endowing the Baker program. Describe how the program is administered and maybe some of the changes that are happening, either as it relates to the S.C. Johnson's College of Business or to the Paul Rubaka School of Real Estate.
Sure, absolutely. As you say, it is a kind of complicated history, but a long one, actually. So the Baker program in real estate has been around in different forms at Cornell for decades. I think a lot of people know it as the program in real estate. And at a certain point, it was endowed by Richard Baker, so it became the Baker program in real estate. And administratively, my understanding is the program has always been within the general kind of ecosystem of the built environment side, so the College of Architecture, Art, and Planning, as well as the business side through the S.C. Johnson College of Business. And then, for a while, the program also had deep ties with the hotel school. And then there were restructurings that basically had the hotel school, Nolan, be part of the S.C. Johnson College of Business. I think one thing that is that really changed quite a bit was that in 2022, Paul Rubaka gave, who's an alum, not of the program, but of Cornell, undergrad as well as MBA. He made a very generous $30 million gift to endow a new department of real estate at Cornell. So now the Baker program is housed within the Paul Rubaka Department of Real Estate, which is itself is a partnership and collaboration between the College of Architecture, Art, and Planning and the S.C. Johnson College of Business. So there's a lot of different kind of organizations and entities within this ecosystem. Somebody really just needs to make a structure chart, and I think it'll be a lot clearer. But it is, because of the organization, which is pretty, as you say, very unique. A lot of our faculty are drawn from the hotel school, for example, for a lot of our real estate finance courses, also drawn from AAP, because a huge part of real estate is understanding the built environment and how real estate actually gets built. So you have this really interesting, I think, because of the organizational framework here at Cornell, a pretty unique way and multidisciplinary way of studying real estate.
What's interesting about it, and I hope it doesn't sound like I'm selling too hard. I obviously am biased towards Baker. I chose it over numerous other programs because of a lot of this history, and so that's why I share it. There is a priority to real estate at Cornell that you often don't get at other schools. Real estate often becomes an afterthought, second to investment banking, or second to consulting in a business school, or second to an architecture or design degree in a design school. And so the endowment by the Rubakas of a Department of Real Estate, the endowment by Richard Baker of the Baker program, creates this priority around real estate that is incredibly advantageous to the students. Let's talk about extracurricular opportunities. Either clubs, outside interactions, basically what sort of real estate education and career opportunities exist for Baker students outside of the classroom?
So I think the first thing to emphasize about which shapes this entire discussion is that the Baker program is one of the smallest graduate programs in real estate. In my year, we have just over 20 people in my cohort. The year above us and below us were both slightly larger. I think historically, each cohort has been in the 30 to 40 people range typically. But that's pretty small in comparison to our peer programs. So as a result, the number of offerings perhaps may be smaller in terms of extracurriculars just because of sheer number of people and critical mass, but the opportunity for depth of involvement, I think, becomes much more significant. So with that in mind, there are a few different graduate level student organizations that are devoted towards real estate. One is the Associate Real Estate Council, also known as AREC. Another is the Association of Cornell Women in Real Estate, also known as a.cre. And then you also have the Philip Payton Society, which is dedicated towards minorities in real estate and does a lot of really great work in terms of they run a case competition for undergrads, for example, at historically Black colleges and universities to do a real estate development case competition. I think with these three main student organizations that are devoted towards real estate at the graduate level, you get a lot of enrichment opportunities. So for example, AREC every year in the fall, really hits the ground running for recruitment for recruiting by making sure that students, especially first-year students, know the lay of the land as it pertains to different companies and organizations within real estate. They run interview prep, mock interviews with both current students, second years, for example, who have had a year of experience doing this, as well as with alumni who really generously offer their time to do practice and mock interviews with students. I think through these student organizations, you also get a lot of opportunities to go beyond campus, and which is very important because the program Cornell is the program has you as a resident in Ithaca, New York, and if any of you have been to Ithaca, you will know that it is quite remote, actually, in upstate New York, and so I think that the faculty, they recognize that this is a limitation that needs to be overcome in order to make Baker program students competitive in the job market, especially compared to students at other programs that are based in large metropolitan cities where there's a lot of people in industry. So as a result, both through the in a lot of different ways, both through involvement in student organizations as well as in other opportunities, there's a lot of effort aimed at getting Baker program students, as well as our classmates who also take real estate classes with us here at Cornell, to New York City, for example, to other large cities, so that there really can be that strong industry engagement, which is critical in real estate.
Talk about your treks, first year and second year treks.
So it is a tradition in the Baker program that, and I think part of the benefits of being in a 2-year program is that you have the opportunity to do these treks. So first-year students typically go on a domestic trek. When I was a first year, our trek was to Miami, and we met with a lot of Baker program alumni based in Miami, as well as Cornell alumni, hotel school alumni. I think that the administration of the Rubaka department works very closely with the alumni who are on the ground to make sure that when we go to Miami, we have packed days where we are meeting with people who are working on all sorts of interesting projects or deals in the real estate space in Miami. We got to do several different site visits and also networking events with alumni, with other players in the space. So in first year, did that in Miami. It was a great, very enriching experience. And then second years typically do an international trek. Last year, because of COVID, was the first time they were able to actually do an international trek. And the year above me, they went to London. This year, in I think just under 3 weeks, my cohort is going to be leaving for Seoul, South Korea, for our trek there. And we are, once again, it is shaping up to be a really, really amazing schedule, closely, working with alumni on the ground. And in Seoul, there's actually a lot of Baker Program alumni who are very much involved in the South Korean real estate market. So I'm very excited for that opportunity.
I was going to say South Korea, that there's a very strong contingent of Cornellians in real estate in South Korea, and Baker Program alum in particular. So that should be an exciting opportunity. Talk a little bit about the alumni support that you get. You referred to it a bit when you're talking about extracurriculars, but to what degree are you interacting with the alumni real estate organization? It's called CREC, the Cornell Real Estate Council. To what degree are alumni supporting you in your job search and your education? Cornell Real Estate Council conference, I would imagine you're interacting with alums. So talk to us about the support that you get from Cornellians in real estate.
One of the things that I've been really, really impressed by during my time at Cornell is this really deep and loyal alumni base. And I think that you feel that at all levels, right? Not just Baker Program alumni, but the number of times that I've sent a cold message through LinkedIn to a Cornell alum, either a Johnson alum or an alum in the architecture, art, and planning department. People who have been part of the Cornell world are really, really willing and generous with their time to help current students. And that takes place, that takes a lot of different forms. Like you said, Spencer, there is every year, there is the Cornell Real Estate Conference in New York City. And that is a great opportunity for current students to make connections with alumni. It happens in New York City. We basically, all students in the Baker Program, as well as other students who are interested in real estate, we get bused down to New York. We stay for a night. We have lots of different networking events with the generally alumni who come and attend this conference from not just New York City, but all over the country and even outside of the US as well. So that's a really great opportunity. I think also, like you said, the CREC and has a real investment in making sure that real estate education at Cornell is strongly supported by alumni. So there are lots of opportunities to engage with alumni on the board through both conferences as well as connections. So, for example, last year, I was one of the co-presidents of the Association of Cornell Women in Real Estate, a.cre, and we worked very closely with alumni who are not just alumni, but also other people who are members of the Real Estate Council and also the Center for Real Estate Finance here at Cornell to build a strong program of speaker events for our membership. I think. Honestly, this is the third institution of higher learning that I have been at. And I've been really so astounded by just how committed and loyal the alumni base is here and how important that is in this industry in particular, where it really is about the relationships and networking is just so paramount.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. I interact with a lot of schools and a lot of alumni from other schools, and Cornell's alumni is as engaged and as supportive of any alumni in the world. It's incredible. It's an incredible organization. Let's get to outcomes. Mm-hmm. That's the whole reason we do this, right? We go back to school because we expect some outcome. I've shared that my graduate studies in real estate really are the reason I am where I am today. And part of my involvement with the Cornell Real Estate Council and others is really to give back, because I have benefited so much from that graduate study in real estate. And I attribute a good portion of it to Cornell. A good portion of it also is just when you go back and you better yourself, it opens up doors for you. What sort of doors could one expect to be opened completing a master's in real estate at Cornell? In terms of job roles, what sort of roles are graduates going into? What type of companies? Geographically, where are they ending up? Kind of give people an overview, if they're looking at Baker, what sort of outcomes they might expect.
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now it is a challenging time in the real estate industry. So of course that constrains us a bit. I think one thing is that, the outcomes for graduates of the Baker program are really very broad. I think one thing that I haven't had a chance to mention is that there is a very large contingent of international students in the Baker program, at least during my time here. The bulk of my cohort is actually from outside of the US. There are these international students, they have, some of them want to take what they've learned here, right, and take that home with them, and really use that to grow the real estate industry in their home countries. There are also students who, they want to take what they learn here. They want to work in the US for a few years, really build up that very, very robust work experience with really solid training. And perhaps they want to stay here afterwards. Perhaps they want to go somewhere else. So I think that in terms of geographies, it is very broad. And I think you can see that with how spread out our alumni base is across the world. Very strong in Asia, very strong in other parts of North and South America, there's a lot of opportunities to engage also with different people in those spaces. I think in terms of roles, I would say about half of my class is more interested in the development side, and perhaps the other side is more interested. The other half is more interested in the investment side, or asset management, or consulting, kind of, things other than development. And you see that reflected also in where people land, both for their summer internships, which is a required part of the Baker program, given that it's 2 full years with a summer in between. And you also see that with full-time opportunities as well. I think what the Baker program is really strong at is giving you the foundation to step up, perhaps, in the kind of role that you can get after the Baker program. So, for example, if before and you had no real estate experience and you were probably only looking at analyst positions, after the really solid training that you get in the Baker program, you would be looking at more senior positions, associate, VP, et cetera, director, depending on what you're interested in. But I think that the program does a really good job of, regardless of what your aspirations are within real estate, giving you the tools and the network to be able to hit the ground running, and really, get into a good outcome after the program.
Yeah, Bernice, that's spot on. Low on time, and I want to get this last question in before we finish. So you're in your second year. Congrats, by the way. Enjoy your time in South Korea. As you look back now to almost 2 years at Cornell up in Ithaca, is there one experience in particular you can point to and say, wow, that experience had an outsized impact on the trajectory of my career?
Yeah, I do. So my experience was afforded to me by Cornell, but actually took me mostly off campus. So Cornell is one of 4 schools that has a a special relationship with ULI, the Urban Land Institute, which is the largest professional association of professionals in the real estate industry broadly in the world. And so Cornell is one of only 4 schools that has a special graduate fellowship with ULI set up. That means that, as the Cornell graduate fellow for ULI in my year, it's a 2-year program. I get full funding and support to go to 4 different ULI conferences. There's 2 every year. These are attended by hundreds, if not thousands, of industry professionals. And for me, it has been extremely valuable in exposing me to what is happening in the areas of real estate that I thought I was interested in, and perhaps, really gave me the perspective to see that perhaps I need to actually explore other things. I say this anecdotally because I came to Cornell largely because I wanted to do hotel development. And Cornell seemed to be the perfect place to do it because of the strong tie between the Baker program and the hotel school here at Cornell, which is one of the best hospitality business schools in the world. Through my experience with the ULI fellowship program, though, last year, the ULI fall meeting conference was in Los Angeles, which was a market that I also was most interested in from the perspective of where do I want to be after graduating. And through this graduate program, you get this really exceptional opportunity to actually be placed with one of the ULI product councils, which is there are many of them. They're different focuses based on subject matter, but regardless, they are always a collection of some of the most influential and senior people in that space. So I have had the opportunity to sit with the Hotel Development Council for ULI as a part of this experience. And through this, and also my time networking with all sorts of people in the hotel and hospitality real estate ecosystem, I've come to realize that my 2 interests in living in Los Angeles and doing hotel development, there is a strong tension between those. So I would say that, one of the great things about Baker is that you have the time to explore. And you might, I never thought, I came in here with such a focus, right, that I didn't think that I would really deviate from that focus, but I've now surprised myself. But I feel like, with the small cohort and the opportunities that you have through that, opportunities to apply to great programs like this ULI graduate fellowship that Cornell has with ULI, has really given me the breathing room and the space, and also just the amazing, well-rounded education in real estate to be able to make any sort of pivot, really, that within real estate that becomes necessary or advisable. So for myself, just very recently, I've realized that perhaps it is time to make another pivot within real estate. But doesn't feel daunting. In fact, it feels really exciting. And I think that it's really because of just this amazing experience that I've been able to have building up my real estate skills and toolkit here at Cornell with the Baker program, that I really do feel prepared to, take on whatever direction or focus within real estate as I want.
Good, Bernice. You represent Baker and Cornell well. We wish you the best. Thank you for your time. We'll turn it over to Sam to wrap us up.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'd like to obviously thank you, Bernice, for joining us here today. And to everyone who both viewed or read this article on the site, thank you for taking the time to watch today's deep dive. The best of luck to you and to your adventure in commercial real estate.